I mean, I was trying to figure out. Go ahead.
But I also want to emphasize that arts journalism just isn't only about entertainment and selling product. It's really, again, getting back to the point of distributing ideas, of building communities, I think. I mean, I think that may be a difference that's emerging from this conversation here. It's not that I don't disagree that we shouldn't be selling products. Obviously, everybody's got to make a living. But I feel like the promise of arts journalism is to be able to create these pieces, these drops of social blue, at the end of the day. So I think that may be the where we're kind of parting here. If we're even parting, I don't even know that we're disagreeing here.
I don't know. It's maybe a little bit of a subtle disagreement, but there just is that sense that I feel like, what is the landscape or what is the way within these new tools? If all this stuff going out there, what is the role of a quote-unquote expert? And can there, absolutely there are experts who are not the paid staff of any newspaper. I mean, I think that's absolutely true. The thing becomes complicated, though, I think, for people who are consumers of arts journalism, is how to know the difference in the world into which
Well, the key is, I think, is to be, first of all, we're talking about things that are fun here, right? Whether it's going to the museum or looking at a painting or a sculpture or a symphony or a dance performance or a video game or a book.
We're not talking about following the Justice Department.
These are things people do with their leisure time.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And obviously we've seen this proliferation of competition for the same finite amount of leisure minutes, right? Yeah. So you have this, but these are all things people do for fun. So the people who write about it, I mean, we're all fans at a certain level, right? And the key, though, is to maintain this balance between loving the stuff that you write about in general. I love art, so I'm going to write about painting, but also be able to maintain that detachment as well, to call out when you don't think that the artist is living up to their talent or whatever it happens to be. And it's that balance between being a fan of a genre or an entire type of entertainment while also being able to be detached and realistic and explaining what's really going on there. And that's the key to being a great arts writer, I would think.
So
I would agree.
I have a question.
Kind of being a sports writer almost.
You and I are among the last journalists standing, I feel like, as we sort of, right now, I'm going to put that on my cubicle, last journalist standing, because people are losing jobs around us, things are really shifting. Just for both of you, we just have a few minutes left. Are you optimistic as we move forward? Do you actually see opportunities here for doing things that are thoughtful, that provide that kind of context?
I am. I mean, I absolutely am. There has been, as we've talked about from the beginning of today, there has been a lot of sort of wailing and moaning about the fact that, a lot of our venues have dried up, we've been laid off and all this kind of stuff. And that continues. Every day there's a new magazine going under that I'm like, there's another, way to support myself that I'm not going to be able to lean upon. But at the same time, I just go back to this. Like, when you're not chasing the dollar, that's the moment when you can get really creative. And I think that we're seeing that in all these projects that are being displayed here. And I think that it's happening not just on this scale, but it's happening on a massive scale all around the country. During the bull era, everybody was running around doing the stuff that they didn't want to do necessarily, but they knew they were going to make a lot of money at it. And these days, it's the kind of thing where it's like, hey, what the heck? I've got all this free time.
Well, you have a book coming out.
I have to finish writing it. Yeah.
But I imagine it's going to be. Yeah, that's really that'll be good.
Small thing.
I imagine it's going to be a much more multimedia experience than just a book, too.
I hope so. Yeah.
Which may be more exciting, for you.
Well, obviously, it's a very disruptive time for a lot of people in our business. And it's frightening. It's scary. People are losing their jobs, and in particular, lots of entertainment and arts writers are losing their jobs, and that's terrifying. But at the same time, as Jeff was mentioning, the fact that anyone can make their voice heard in some way is incredibly exciting as well. We see it with video games where people are getting jobs at paying websites because they had their own little game blog, and if you're good about writing about what you love, someone will hear you. And hopefully that will end up making money for you. I mean, for us at the Times in particular, I mean, obviously we're struggling like everyone else to figure our way forward here. I mean, we're doing our best to innovate. I think in the realm of arts and culture writing, I think hopefully that we're doing as good a job as we ever have. And then hopefully we can provide a little bit of a common touchstone across different media and across different forms of entertainment, and for people all around the country and around the world. So in that extent, it is an opportunity, as others de-emphasize arts coverage. And for me, it's just an incredible opportunity to have them invite me to come write about video games on the same pages with our incredibly esteemed critics and other media. Books, movies, television, just to be included in that. And I think what that means is traditional media, it's a sign of traditional media reinventing itself going forward and saying we're not going to be left behind by new forms of media, new forms of entertainment. We're going to continue to bring the same values and integrity and hopefully level of thought while also reinventing ourselves going forward. So I hope to see a lot more mainstream video game writers out there in the future.
Well, I think it's great, that we're all having this conversation. One thing I think is important is that journalists are actually part of the conversation as we move forward. And, I think it's great that so many people are participating. It's sometimes fascinating to me to read comments on stories. Sometimes I don't read them, but I think this is a pretty great moment for all of us, really, if we can just kind of seize it, grab it, and try to use all these new tools and work with them and take what we already know and move forward. So thank you guys so much for being part of this.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.